Hello everyone. In this video I will discuss one of the film called Paradise 2023. And never forget that I always pray for you and your family to be happy and healthy always. A company named Aeon possesses the technology to transfer age from one person to another. Aeon has channeled age donations from 200,000 individuals to 200,000 recipients, offering substantial compensation to the age donors. The story will focus on Aeon's sales manager, Max. On that day, he visited the residence of a poor family located in an immigrant shelter in Germany. A young man named Dennis, who had just turned 18 and was legally eligible for age donation, was offered by Max to donate 15 years of his age in exchange for 700,000 euros. Dennis seemed hesitant because, after the age donation, he would become 33 years old, skipping through his youth. However, Max convinced Dennis that by donating his age, he could save his family. He would have enough money to pay the government to become a German citizen, and Dennis, along with his family, could escape poverty. Finally, Dennis agreed after hearing Max's persuasive arguments. Later, Max received a call from his colleague named Erica, who asked Max to come to the Aeon headquarters immediately because there would be a major meeting between employees and Aeon executives shortly. Max hurriedly went there. Upon arriving at the headquarters, Erica immediately took Max to the meeting room because they were running late. Just as Max took his seat, his name was called by the host as the best age donation manager of the year, thanks to Max's empathy and sincerity. He had set a record by collecting a total of 276 years in donations. After that, the CEO, the mastermind behind Aeon, named Sophie entered the stage. She delivered a speech about how many scientists in the world had to die prematurely. She asked the audience to imagine what could be achieved if scientists could live longer. There would undoubtedly be more revolutionary discoveries benefiting humanity. Therefore, Sophie announced that Aeon would provide age donations for free to scientists and Nobel laureates who were still alive. Currently, 15 scientists had already received age donations, and the number would continue to grow. Aeon had successfully reversed time, but they would keep innovating until a point where the flow of time could be stopped, eliminating the limitations of age and death in human life. Then, the scene shows scientists who have become young again after receiving age donations. One of them is Professor Sarah, who was previously 60 years old and paralyzed. Now she has returned to her youth as a woman in her 30s. Suddenly, a nurse indiscriminately shoots and kills the 15 scientists who received age donations. It turns out he was an infiltrator from a terrorist group called Adam. This group opposes the activities carried out by Aeon because Aeon has turned human age into a commodity that can be bought and sold. Aeon has treated humans like livestock. Therefore, Adam's group promises to continue killing anyone who becomes an age donor recipient. Sophie held a meeting and asked the head of the security team named Kaya why they had been caught off guard, and suddenly a man named Novak appeared. He was a newly appointed operational manager at Aeon. Novak, a veteran of the German anti-terror police unit, informed them that the nurse who committed the murders had been undercover at Aeon for months. Sophie didn't want to hear many excuses. She wanted Kaya and Novak to cooperate in improving security at Aeon. The scene then shifts to Max and his wife, Elena. At that moment, they were discussing their future plans, which involved combining the installment payments for the apartment they currently occupied and buying a house by the lake to fulfill their dream of living happily with their future children. Afterward, they visited Elena's parents' house, where Max had a debate with his father-in-law. According to the father-in-law, only wealthy people could enjoy Aeon's discovery, and poor people like him couldn't turn young again because they didn't have money. Max countered that Aeon's discovery had improved the quality of life for the poor because its presence allowed them to live more prosperously by selling their age. That night, Max and Elena returned to their apartment. During the journey, they discussed that the decision to buy the expensive installment apartment was a wrong one because Max had to work tirelessly, and Elena, as a nurse, had to work overtime at the hospital. As they were nearing their apartment complex, they were puzzled by an apartment on fire. It turned out to be their apartment. Max immediately reassured Elena, saying that the insurance would fully cover this disaster. A few days later, They met with the lawyer they had hired and received surprising news that the apartment fire had been caused by their own actions. The investigative team didn't find any electrical faults, but instead discovered evidence of a candle in the apartment that had caused the fire. They were asked to immediately settle the remaining installment of 2.5 million euros. Max was immediately frustrated, wondering where he could get that much money. Then, with guilt, Elena revealed that she had already pledged her own age for donation. Hearing this, Max became angry, asking why he hadn't been informed of Elena's age pledge. Max then requested that only his age be donated, but the lawyer informed him that the prospective recipient of Max's age had died in an accident. Only the prospective recipient of Elena's age was still alive. It would take a long time for Max to find another recipient for age donation. The only way to pay off the apartment installment was by donating 40 years of Elena's age. After meeting with their lawyer, they planned to look for another way out. Suddenly, 2 police officers immediately arrested Elena for questioning, which meant that Max was alone in seeking a way out. The next day, Max went directly to Sophie Thyssen, informing her of what had happened and requesting a loan of 2.5 million euros. If not, 40 years of his wife's age would be taken. Sophie, recognizing Max as the best sales manager at Aeon, promised to help him and asked Max to send the loan proposal immediately. Weeks passed, but Max hadn't received any news from Sophie, and today was the day when Elena's age would be forcibly taken. Max and his lawyer met with the receptionist and requested to see Elena. Unfortunately, the receptionist informed them that Elena would undergo the donation process in 2 hours. According to Aeon's procedures, patients were not allowed to meet anyone until after the donation process was completed. Max attempted to force his way in, but his efforts were thwarted by the security team. Now, he could only wait anxiously and worry about the donation process while his wife was in the operating room, forced to undergo age donation. Afterward, Max and Elena went to find a place to stay. In the midst of their despair, they both fell silent. Slowly, Elena's physical condition aged, her hair changed color, and wrinkles began to appear. The next morning, Max received good news from the office. He immediately went to the office, hoping for a solution from Sophie. Unfortunately, Max received only a promotion to the position of senior sales manager. Unsatisfied with this, he forced a meeting with Sophie to hold her to her promise. Surprisingly, Sophie appeared younger. Max suspected that Sophie had stolen his wife's age, but at that moment, Sophie didn't offer any comments. Max returned to his wife with empty hands, his heart touched when he saw Elena's physical transformation. Elena was now 40 years older, and now her age is around 70 years old. She felt frustrated about why this only happened to her, while Max remained unaffected. And these conditions triggered an argument between them. That evening, while Max was contemplating in the park, a young girl who was a recipient of age donations, originally in her 30s, offered him some stuff, and Max declined her offer. Later, Elena asked Max to take her to her parents' house. Their relationship became strained as Elena continued to blame their current situation. Elena even asked to live alone at her parents' house. Upon hearing this, Max promised Elena to find a way out of the problem. Max returned to the park and encountered the young girl again, whom he believed had received age donations from sources other than Aeon, possibly from the black market. Max asked for contact information for the black market from the girl. He immediately paid 10,000 euros for the age exchange service. The black market contact informed Max that he would meet Dr. Berg in Lithuania in 1 week, under the condition that Max must bring 1 age donor and 1 age recipient. Max promptly arranged for a fake passport and obtained a pistol. With everything ready, Max intended to kidnap Sophie to retrieve his wife's age. The situation favored Max, as Sophie had gone to a funeral and requested not to be accompanied by her aides. Realizing that Sophie was alone, Max incapacitated her, now transformed into a young girl. Then Max created a symbol of the Adam group as a diversion and took Sophie to his car. He immediately met Elena, who was working at the hospital, and informed her that he had found a solution. Max took Elena to a junkyard where he was holding Sophie, revealing his plan to regain Elena's age through the services of the black market. While at the cemetery, the security team easily discovered the real perpetrator. They were not fooled by the Adam Group symbol created by Max. They identified Max as the actual culprit through security camera footage. Quickly, the heavily armed security team headed to the junkyard where Sophie was supposed to be. However, they were too late, as Max had already left the location. Max, Elena, and the bound Sophie were on their way to the harbor, boarding a ferry to reach Lithuania. In short, Max had arrived in Lithuania, and they had to wait for someone from the black market to send coordinates to meet Dr. Berg. During a break, Sophie was allowed to exit the car to freshen up. She immediately became angry with Max, stating that her mother, Sophie Thyssen, would give Max anything he asked for. Max was confused and asked if she wasn't Sophie Thyssen. The girl claimed that she was Marie Thyssen, the daughter of Sophie Thyssen. Max didn't immediately believe her and was convinced that it was a ruse by Sophie to secure her release. He recalled Sophie and put her back in the car. On the other hand, Elena was starting to doubt. What if the girl was indeed Marie and not Sophie? That would mean they had kidnapped an innocent person. Max insisted that Sophie would do anything to deceive them. Since Dr. Berg had not yet sent the coordinates, Max had to find the location of the hideout. They arrived at an abandoned building, where once again, Sophie tried to convince them that she was not the Sophie they were looking for. She was Marie Thyssen, the daughter of Sophie. This led to a heated argument between Elena and Max. Elena, believing that the girl was Marie, wanted to abort the plan because Marie was innocent. Max, however, insisted on continuing the plan, as he believed that both Sophie and Marie could be used to extract their ages forcibly. After the argument, Max and Elena reconciled. Max reassured Elena that this was the right course of action and that their love story still had a long and happy life ahead. Meanwhile, the girl, whose identity was still in question, whether she was Marie or Sophie, could only cry in fear while bound. On the other side, Kaya and Nowak managed to trace Max's vehicle to Lithuania. Therefore, Kaya immediately prepared a fully armed combat unit to raid Max's hideout. A few moments later, Max and Elena were seen fast asleep. They were jolted awake, not by Aeon security forces, but by the Adam Group, who had ambushed them. The leader of the Adam Group, named Lily, informed them that Max had made a mistake in kidnapping someone. The girl was Marie Thyssen, the daughter of Sophie Thyssen. Afterward, Lily revealed the true facts. The apartment fire that Max believed was real was Sophie's fabrication. Sophie had orchestrated it to receive an age donation from Elena. Elena was the only DNA match for Sophie, so Sophie engineered the death of Max's age recipient in a staged accident. She also set fire to Max's apartment. The death of Max's age recipient meant that Max couldn't pledge his age, so it was Elena who had to pledge her age to pay off the apartment that Sophie had burned. Lily then pressured Elena to kill Marie, but Elena felt unable to do so and refused Lily's command. Shortly after, Max received a message containing coordinates for Dr. Berg's location. Unfortunately, Max would never make it there because he was now a hostage of the Adam Group. Lily asked Max to be the bait. She had received information from her informant that Sophie, along with Aeon security personnel, was heading to their location. Lily wanted Max to bring Sophie into the place without her guards, and then they would capture Sophie. Aeon security forces stormed the location with Max raising his hands. He walked out and stated that Marie Thyssen was unharmed, expressing his desire for a one-on-one conversation with Sophie. On the other hand, Lily informed them that if this plan failed, they would execute Plan B, which involved killing Sophie. Judas would take care of it, and it turned out Judas was Nowak, a member who, in fact, was a member of the Adam Group. He had successfully infiltrated Aeon's security team. Sophie, now a young woman, immediately met Max. She offered Max 10 million euros in exchange for handing over Marie, but Max refused. It was merely a lie from Sophie's mouth. He invited Sophie to see her daughter inside without any guards. Sophie agreed to it and wanted to go inside, but when they walked, Kaya asked Max how he knew that Sophie was with them, considering that Sophie had not left the car earlier. Kaya suspected it was a trap. Max became nervous with that question, and suddenly Judas activated Plan B by attempting to kill Sophie. Seeing this, Kaya swiftly eliminated Judas, resulting in a firefight between Aeon security and the Adam group. Max hurried inside to rescue his wife and take Marie to meet Dr. Berg. Just as they were about to get into the car, Marie secretly grabbed the pistol intended for her own murder and threatened Elena. Unfortunately, the pistol was unloaded, suggesting that Lily had no intention of actually killing Marie. Elena immediately struck Marie, causing her to faint, and they swiftly departed from the scene. Meanwhile, Kaya searched Judas's cell phone and saw an incoming call from Lily, the leader of the Adam group. Kaya called Lily back, and from the background noise it became evident that the leader of the Adam group had been killed in the shootout. In the car, Max felt restless because they were going to take Marie's age, an innocent girl. After Sophie was shot and killed, Max felt guilty about taking Marie's age. He realized that Marie would grow old forever without the chance to rejuvenate, and she couldn't ask her mother for her age because her mother was already deceased. Upon hearing Max's hesitation, Elena became furious. She felt that Max cared more about others than his own wife. Her anger reached its peak, and she demanded that Max get out of the car and never see her again. A few moments later, Elena arrived at the meeting place with Dr. Berg. They immediately took Marie to forcibly extract her age and give it to Elena. Once the process was completed, Elena noticed that the people arriving on a bus were a group of donors who had been coerced. Elena decided not to get involved and promptly left the area. Meanwhile, Marie, walking alone in the darkness and filled with fear, was discovered by a truck driver. Marie was taken back to the Aeon headquarters, where it turned out that Sophie had not died in the shootout. She had been protected by an anti-bullet vest. At that moment, Kaya felt guilty about the death of Nowak or Judas and the dirty deeds she had done for Sophie, such as killing Max's prospective age donor and setting fire to Max's apartment. Kaya immediately left Sophie. Now, Sophie was delighted that her daughter had returned. Marie, who was slowly aging, asked her mother to donate her age to her, but Sophie, who was inherently selfish, argued that she had to stay strong to run the company. However, she promised to find a suitable age donor for her daughter. Months after the incident, Elena was pregnant with another man by her side, and it wasn't Max. On the other hand, Max could only watch from a distance as the woman he loved dearly was now with someone else. When Elena turned around and saw Max in the distance, he immediately left the scene. As it turns out, Max had become a member of the Adam group. As long as Aeon still existed, the Adam group would never give up. This shows the Adam group planning an attack on the main Aeon headquarters. And that's it for the story series of this film. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to support this channel by subscribe, like and share. See you in the next video. Goodbye.